Namaste, Sitaram. A pleasant good morning. Welcome to Rudraaya. I'm your host, Nisha Sharma, and Rudraaya is being brought to you with the kind compliments of Maharuchidip Mandir. And of course, the Mandir is located at 850 Tapscott Road, Unit 34 in Scarborough, with Tapscott and McNichol being our closest intersection. So as you know, we are in the period of Navratri. And of course, Ramadan started on the very same day as Navratri. So it is especially a very, 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 auspicious time for fasting and for praying. So without further ado, we'll get straight into our pravachan with our spiritual leader, Pandit Ravi Sharma. Enjoy.
Dear devotees, dear blessings of our Lord, once again we have gathered. Here we are Rudraaya, Ram Navami, or called as Janmadin, the auspicious time that our Lord Ramachandra Bhagavan became and he took avataram. Remember, avataram itself means where the Lord comes and descends upon this world for the ascent of human beings like you and I. This Ram Navami falls on the Navami Titi Madhu Masu Punita Shukla Paksha Bhi Jit Hari Prita. On the ninth day of the bright fortnight in this month of Chaitra, fallen upon this month April, Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra Ji was the Lord Narayan himself. He took avataram or he incarnated on earth for the destruction of Ravan. He was well accomplished, beautiful, and endowed with royal marks. His glory and his prowess were unlimited. He always addressed them in gentle words. He never used any harsh words, even when someone provoked him. He held sway over the entire world. The Ram Navami celebration or the Vasanta Navratri every year is an opportune period for us to saturate ourselves with the spirit of Lord Ramchandra Ji. We love and adore our ideals because we express thereby our yearnings to unite with them. In our worship of God, it is implied that we should be virtuous, good and perfect, as the Lord himself is. Hence the wise instruction, one should become divine in order to be able to worship God. One cannot be a real worshipper of the Lord unless one makes an honest attempt to grow in the virtues that the Lord represents. On the other hand, worship of Bhagwan Shri Ram is itself the surest means to develop such virtues. One who approaches Shri Ram with love and worshipfulness becomes large-hearted, pure in spirit, good-natured, and dispassionate in thought, word, and deed. Bhagwan Shri Ram was the prince of the Ishvaku race. He was virtuous and of manly strength. He was the lord of the mind and the senses, brave and valiant. He was yet gentle and modest. He was a sage in counsel, kind and sweet in speech, and most courteous and handsome in appearance. He was the master of all divine weapons and a great warrior, ever devoted to the good and prosperity of his kingdom and his subjects. He was the defender of the weak and the protector of the righteous, endowed with numerous wondrous powers of the mind, well versed in all sciences, in military science as well as the science of the self. Deep and unfathomed like the ocean, firm and steadfast like the Himalayan mountains, valiant though fierce like fire on the battlefield, he was calm like the cool breeze of the Mandara hills, patient like Mother Earth in the festive scenes which held them to great joy. the noblest lesson embodied in the Ramayana, the glorious incarnation of the Supreme Being. In the form of the Lord Rama has exemplified the path of righteousness. Let human beings like you and I follow in his footsteps. May we practice such ideals. May the blessing of the Lord be upon each and every one of you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Hari Om.
मेरा दीपक जुग जुग जले, युग युग प्रकाश पहलाए। मेरा दीपक जुग जुग जले, जुग जुग प्रकाश पहलाए। इतना मांगहु भगवाना, आए आंधी या तूफाना। इतना मांगहु भगवाना, आए आंधी या तूफाना। ये ज्योति न बुझरे पाए, युग युग प्रकाश पहलाए। मेरा दीपक जुग जुग जले, युग युग प्रकाश पहलाए। मेरो नैनों का ये तारा, मेरा जीवन का उजियारा। मेरे नैनों का ये तारा, मेरा जीवन का उजियारा। मुख कमल खोल मुस्काए, युग युग प्रकाश पहलाए। मेरा दीपक जुग जुग जले, युग युग प्रकाश पहलाए। मनमोहन मधुर सलोना, मेरा तूत न जाए किलोना। मनमोहन मधुर सलोना, मेरा तूत न जाए किलोना। तुम दीन बंधु कहलाए, युग युग प्रकाश पहलाए। मेरा दीपक जुग जुग जले, जुग जुग प्रकाश पहलाए। मेरा दीपक जुग जुग जले, जुग जुग प्रकाश पहलाए। जुग जुग प्रकाश पहलाए।
My dear viewers, I hope you've enjoyed this morning's pravachan, and as we are continuing with our Navratri celebrations, of course, bringing you blessings right into your home, in the comfort of your own home, on this very auspicious day of Navratri. And of course, Navratri ends on Wednesday with the celebration of Sri Ram Navami at noon on Wednesday the 21st. And the last session in the evening of Wednesday the 21st, we'll be meeting right here at Maharudraya Mandir to celebrate the auspicious occasion of Ram Navami, and of course that last session of Navratri. So I would also like to send happy birthday greetings to our dear friend and my eldest brother, Baliram Chedi, as he celebrated his birthday last week. So Mahanji, on behalf of the crew at Rudraaya and of course your family at Maharujadev Mandir, we want to wish you Hanumanji's choicest blessings of all of life's treasures, which includes good health and happiness always. So I hope you had a great day and of course stay blessed. But now we'll get straight into our health segment with our own Dr. Sachin Ramkisoon.
Sitaram and welcome to Health Corner. I am Dr. Sachin Ramkisoon and this is our 5th episode in our series on mental illness. Today we are discussing addiction disorders, specifically alcohol, drugs, and gambling addictions. Addiction is a brain disorder characterized by compulsively engaging in activities that give an immediate reward, despite the adverse consequences involved. This behavior is repetitive and continues despite the harms that result. The person is fixated on getting that rewarding feeling. Addiction varies widely based on geography. In North America, it is estimated that 1 in 10 people have an addiction disorder to alcohol, cigarettes, or drugs. Addiction is a disease that affects the way the person's brain works and leads to behavior that cannot be controlled, despite the negative legal or social consequences of that behavior. An example is someone who will spend every dollar they have playing the lottery or gambling at a casino, even though they don't have enough money for food at home. Another example is someone who must use certain addictive drugs on a regular basis and may resort to illegal means to obtain it. Addiction usually begins slowly with regular behavior that then becomes more uncontrolled. For example, drug addiction can start with experimental use of recreational drugs such as cigarettes and marijuana in social situations and becomes more frequent over time. If it progresses far enough, then it starts to interfere with that person's daily life and ability to function effectively. This slow progression to an addiction is seen very often with certain pain medications, specifically opioid drugs. The regular use of these opioid pain medications can lead the body to become used to the drug, and so to get the same effect, you need to use a higher dose of medication. This is a dreadful cycle that leads to the body's dependence on the drug and starts to affect the person's daily life. This addiction to opioid is a major health concern that is ongoing currently around the world, as you may have heard of the high numbers of young people who are dying from overdoses of these opioid drugs. Quite often, it is a family member or friend that recognizes the signs of addiction in a loved one. The first sign is the frequent indulgence in the behavior, whether it is alcohol, drugs, gambling, or even excessive shopping or video games. The next is recognizing how it is negatively affecting their daily life, such as frequently missing school or work, poor grades, lack of energy and motivation, changes in behavior or being excessively secretive, and having unexplained money issues. The likelihood of developing an addiction is due to both genetics and environmental factors. Drug and alcohol addiction is more common in some family members, suggesting a genetic link. As for environmental factors, peer pressure is a strong predictor of drug abuse and addiction, particularly in young people. Other risk factors include beginning to experiment with alcohol or drugs at an early age and lack of family involvement. Addiction is frequently seen together with other mental illnesses, since drugs and alcohol can become a way of coping with such things as depression and anxiety. It is often difficult to recognize addiction in those we care about, and sometimes it is even more difficult to get them the help that they need. Your physician or other healthcare professional is the first point of contact to seek help. Treatments can include detoxification programs, group therapy sessions, behavioral therapy, and sometimes require medications. I hope this discussion has been useful to you, as addiction is a problem that still has a large negative stigma attached to it. Recognizing addiction as a disease instead of a choice is the first step to addressing this issue. Thank you for joining me on Health Corner, and I look forward to speaking with you next week on Rudraaya.
साबुन भैया खूब नहाइला भौजी ने के साबुन भैया खूब नहाइला भौजी ने के साबुन भैया खूब नहाइला भौजी ने के साबुन भैया खूब नहाइला दारू पिए नखरे भौजी खूब लोटेला दारू पिए नखरे भौजी खूब लोटेला लोटे लोटे हाजी लोटे लोटे हाजी लोटे लोटे भौजी रे खूब लोटेला रे लोटे लोटे भौजी रे खूब लोटेला लोटेला खूब लोटेला लोटेला खूब लोटेला हाजी लोटे लोटे हाजी लोटे लोटे हाजी लोटे लोटे भौजी रे खूब लोटेला रे लोटे लोटे भौजी रे खूब लोटेला भौजी सुखड़ की हो तोहरा के देखे मोरा मनवा लाली चाय भौजी सुखड़ की हो तोहरा के देखे मोरा मनवा लाली चाय भौजी भौजी माय भौजी अरे भौजी भौजी लिप भौजी सके सके गिमीनो सके सके गिमीनो सके सके गिमीनो सके सके गिमीनो माझी बीबी मिया या खोमी मिया खुशबू भी लैले बाहर लिखी आइले माझी बीबी मिया या खोमी मिया खुशबू भी लैले बाहर लिखी आइले भौजी सुखड़ की हो तोहरा के देखे मोरा मनवा लाली चाय भौजी सुखड़ की हो तोहरा के देखे मोरा मनवा लाली चाय बदी गन अमेरिका में बदी गन अमेरिका बदी गन अमेरिका में बदी गन अमेरिका कि मिलना होजी कि मिलना हाजी कि मिलना भौजी में बदी गन अमेरिका कि मिलना भौजी में बदी गन अमेरिका हंसा की सुरवा पराठा की रोटी हंसा की सुरवा पराठा की रोटी कि मिलना होजी कि मिलना हाजी कि मिलना भौजी में पापा पापा हंगरी कि मिलना भौजी में पापा पापा हंगरी कि मिलना भौजी में बॉडी गन अमेरिका कि मिलना भौजी में बॉडी गन ट्रिनिडाड कि मिलना भौजी में बॉडी गन सुरीनाम.
Many viewers, we are at the corporate segment of Rudraaya, and of course would like to introduce you to Kamalji from Lotus Funeral Home to bring you some news on what's happening with the funeral homes during this lockdown period. Kamalji.
Sitram and Namaste. My name is Kamal Bardwaj and I'm the owner of Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center in Toronto and Kitchener Funeral Homes and Crematorium in Kitchener. I'm also a licensed funeral director. I've been asked by many people to explain more about what a cremation and the equipment used during this process. A cremation chamber is referred to as a retort. It has an industrial furnace that is large enough to hold one body. Fire-resistant bricks line the chamber. The bricks withstand temperatures up to 2,000 degrees. Modern cremation furnaces follow according to strict environmental and air quality standards. Natural gas, propane, or diesel fuel power the furnaces. They are also automated and computerized. After cremation, the remains are cooled. The operator inspects the remains for remnants of metal left behind and removes them by hand or by strong magnets. The metal is often sent to a recycler. We refer to cremated remains as ashes, which is what is left behind, where are actually bits of bone. After cremation, a special processor grinds the fragments into what we call cremains. This is what we mean when we refer to ashes. At Lotus Funeral Cremation Center and Kitchener Funeral Homes and Crematorium, we operate 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. Our crematorium is located in our building, so we never have to leave our building in cold or bad weather for cremation. Our crematorium space can have a large group of people to attend the witnessing of the cremation as well. For Hindu families, we can provide all the puja items, including fresh leaves and a having kund. We have large halls that accommodate large seating to smaller ones. We are centrally located for families in the west and families from the east. For more information, please contact me from the telephone number on the screen. Thank you for watching and see you next week on Rudraaya. Sitaram.
Life is beautiful, but death is inevitable. I realized this when my dad passed away. So much pain, and amidst all this, the worry of arranging a funeral. Thankfully, in all this, Kamal stood by me. From the viewing to the cremation, he arranged it all at one location. Once someone is gone, they don't come back. But Lotus Funeral Home knows how to give them a respectable farewell.
Lotus Funeral Home. Life must be celebrated.
My dear viewers, we've come to the end of another segment of Rudraaya. I would also like to remind you that we're celebrating Hanuman Jayanti on April the 26th. It's a Monday this year. And of course, as customary, we'll be chanting 108 Hanuman Chalisas right here at Maharudraaya Mandir. A small group of us will gather and we will continue the chanting. Now, if you would like to dedicate one of those Hanuman Chalisas in the name of a loved one, for a special occasion, or a deceased relative, a parent, please reach out to us and we would be happy to dedicate one of those Hanuman Chalisas in the name of your loved one. Of course, the number is on the screen, and what happens is that before we start the chanting, the names are read out and the Hanuman Chalisas, the chanting of the 108, each Chalisa is dedicated to 108 individuals based on the names provided to us. So if you'd like to join that list, please contact us and we'll be happy to dedicate one to you or loved one. Would like to thank our kind sponsors at Maharudraaya Mandir, as well as our executive producer Gary Khan for making Rudraaya possible. And as mentioned before, Navratri continues, and we will conclude Durga Ashtami is on the Tuesday, which is this Tuesday, the 20th. And of course, we will conclude with the celebrations of Ram Navami, Sri Ram Navami on Wednesday at noon. And of course, the last session of Navratri is Wednesday evening on April 21st. So until we meet next week, have a blessed week. Namaste.
दया करो माँ शिव सुंदरी कृपा करो माँ जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ जगदीश्वरी रक्षा करो माँ जगदीश्वरी दया करो माँ। ओम जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। तुमको निषदिन ध्यावत हरि ब्रह्मा शिव जी। जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। मांग सिंदूर विराजत को मृगम धुको, उज्ज्वल से धोनहीना चंद्र बदनी को। जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। गणक समान कलेवर रक्तांबर साजे, रक्त पुष्प गले महला गंधन हार साजे। हे अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। के अरिवान राजत धंत कप्पर धरे, सुर नर मुनि जन सेवित तिंगे दुख हरे। हे अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। कानन कुंडल शोभित नासाग्रे मूर्ति, कोटिक चंद्र दिवाकर सम्राजत ज्योति। हे अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। शुंभ निशुंभ विधरे महिषासुर घाती, धूम्र विलोचन नित्यदिन। धूम्र विलोचन नयना नित्यदिन मदमती। हे अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। ब्रह्माणे रुद्राणि धूमकमलाराणि, निगमगानि तुम शिवपतराणि। हे अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। 64 योगिनी गावत नृत्य करत भैरो, बाजत मृदंगा बाजत तुमरो। जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। तुम जग के मात तुम ये हो भरता, भजन की दुख हरता, सुख संपत्ति करता। हे अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। पूजचारयति शोभितमरमन्त्रधारी, वाञ्छितमल्पावत् एवत सेवत नर नारी। जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। माँ अम्बे की आरती जो कोई नर गावे, शिवानंद स्वामी मन सुख संपत्ति पावे। ओम जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। ओम जय अम्बे गौरी मैया, जय श्यामा गौरी। ओम जय